Doma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, we have big problems in boxing. We always talk about it with too many belts, too many sanctioning bodies, and never one champion in one division. And the WBC, who was a big culprit in here, Mauricio Sulaiman is the WBC president, was watching him in interviews and of late trying to explain this new uh, belt or trophy or whatever you want to call it, called the franchise title, which is kind of a messing boxing up. And when he sits there and he tries to explain what this franchise title is, it's excruciating. You sit there, you cringe for the man, which we shouldn't, because you the problem. You explain it to us, right? But it's very hard for him to explain because when he gave it to the first person in Canelo, his explanation was someone who's special, who's doing things for boxing special. He shouldn't have to fight these mandatories here, and some of them are, he would say, non-deserving mandatories. But I know he wasn't talking about Charlo when he's that, but other ones, whatever, non-deserving, and he's just special. So it seemed to me that he was talking about a body of work from Canelo, and he's special. He can go to different weight classes and do different things instead of just having to fight one mandatory, right? But a couple of months later, then he gave it to Lomachenko in the same situation when he was supposed to fight also a hard fighter in Devin Haney. And here's the point: Devin Haney fight or the Charlo fight would have been more lucrative than the fights that they're talking about making instead of those fights, right? That's another thing. So then he said, with the special fighters that are doing special things in fighting, Lomachenko and Canelo, right? So those are special ones. And he also said because when Canelo got this title, then Charlo, of course, said, "Hey, listen, man, well, I'll fight him for that title then. I want to get that one. Whatever Canelo got, I want." And they told him, "You can't get it. You can't. It's not transferable. You can't have the title." And then Lomachenko did the same thing with Devin Haney, and Devin Haney couldn't get that title either. And he didn't even get to fight with Lomachenko. But now they're saying it's transferable, and that's why Teofimo Lopez beating Lomachenko. Now he has the franchise title with 23 years old and not really a body of work. His biggest win is Lomachenko. Call me before that, but is that a body of work? We're talking about franchise as something special. I'm pretty sure you have takes years to get it. It should have. That's what it sounds like now. Now it's transferable. And this, I know it's cynical, but this is how it sounds to me. We made up a title, but we can keep this title away from some brothers. Black people ain't getting it. That's what it really sounds like. I know you know, but really, because Charlo is a huge fight for Canelo in Texas or anywhere. We don't want that one. We can have Canelo go do any other things. Actually, look, we just told Canelo he can go fight Yildirim, Kovalev, Billy Joe Saunders, anybody. But Charlo, no, you don't have to do that. Lomachenko, you can fight anybody, but you ain't fighting Devin Haney, right? We're not letting Devin Haney be the youngest, real undisputed champion of the world. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting the undisputed fight with Demetrius Andrade happen, but that has nothing to do with franchises. Like to mention from time to time, Demetrius Andrade and undisputed fight with Canelo. We're not letting that happen. We're not going to mention it so people don't, want to have nothing to do with it. Won't know. We won't tell the people that this is something that could possibly happen, right? So, like I said, it's excruciating watching the man explain these things because it's just, it is what it is, right? And everything was undisputed, one champion. We're doing everything to not have that. When you're looking at, he was saying that, actually, we got all these championships. We would also like to have one champion. We got all these championships, but it's just very hard to do. It's people involved, the sanctioning bodies, and this and that. And you guys, as fans, are just gonna have to figure out who the best one is, because we're not gonna do anything to help you there, right? And it's not just the sanctioning bodies and all that. It's the fighters. When fighters want to be undisputed, they will, right? Terrence Crawford's undisputed. What do I say every time I say Terrence Crawford's undisputed? All hail Julius Indungo. Julius Indungo wins the title in Russia against Troy Troyanowski, goes over to Scotland, beats up your boy Mr. Burns, Ricky Burns over there. He has two titles. So does Terrence Crawford, and Terrence Crawford's number one pound for pound. He says, "I'm not resting on my laurels. I'm going to Nebraska to fight Terrence Crawford for undisputed." Okay, he didn't win it, but he wanted to do it and he tried it. All hail Julius Ndungo. He's high on my ranking still. He's high on my rankings in the 140-pound division because of what he was trying to do, and others wouldn't have never. You think somebody would have 2 belts and said, "I'm gonna go fight the number one pound for pound guy for the other 2 belts," or just sit back and have these belts and hope for somebody to say I'm better than the other guy that I don't want to fight, a la Canelo, Golovkin, Lomachenko, right? Stuff like that. But it don't happen. Julius Ndongo tried to make it happen, and we got undisputed. Same thing with Alexander Usyk. And you'd wonder, Alexander Usyk is not of color, and he could be higher on people's pound for pound list, right? Should be, because Alexander Usyk not only is he undisputed in the cruiserweight division, he went to everybody's backyard to do so, just like Ndongo, and he won it. He became undisputed. He should be top 5, top 3 pound for pound above those people in front of him. Reason why they don't put him there is because then you would say why. And once you start asking why, yeah, because he's undisputed. He was an undisputed cruiserweight champion. We don't have those. We've only had in the last 20, 25 years, only 3 or 4 people who have done that. That's why. But if you do that, then it would automatically, well, then why is Canelo in front of him who won't be undisputed, who wouldn't fight Demetrius Andrade to be undisputed? What is Golovkin doing on the list who doesn't want to be undisputed? What are all these guys doing on the list who don't want to be undisputed, right? If we're going to give people who are undisputed all this love. So to do that, they just put Usyk somewhere around there. Actually, he's had more achievements than most of those people. Inouye should not be in front of no damn Alexander Usyk. Alexander Usyk didn't have no close fight like Inouye did over Donaire. Inouye barely beat Donaire, had an eye socket busted, and had to take a break fighting Donaire. Rigondeaux was supposed to be in front of Inouye because Rigondeaux did it 6 years ago when Donaire was number 3 pound for pound. That's the case. That's what's going on. So it's a lot of that going on. So yeah, uh, Sullivan, keep doing those interviews. Whoever I don't remember the name of the guy that I saw interviewing him, but props to anybody that's interviewing him to make him have to explain that because he gets uncomfortable and then he gets an attitude problem because he's like, oh well, y'all do what y'all want to do. No, you're saying franchise is helping the sport of boxing. What fight is it giving us? I'm mentioning to you the fights that it's taking away. Once you got franchise out of the way, then Canelo won't fight Jamal Charlo. Has Canelo fought a fight bigger than Jamal Charlo? Has the WBC sanctioned a fight for Canelo that's bigger than Jamal Charlo after him not fighting Jamal Charlo? Is there going to be a bigger fight for Lomachenko after Devin Haney? Shit, Lopez wasn't bigger than Devin Haney. It was just a fight that we had to take because that's what you gave us. Actually, Lomachenko was supposed to fight Devin Haney, and then the fight, if he would have beat Devin Haney, the fight with Lopez would have been for the real undisputed. Franchise would have had nothing to do with it. But franchises would get around this, and we could still call you stuff, and we could tell the people that we don't want to become great that they can't get it. It's not transferable. Till we get somebody that we like, and then okay, we can give it to him, but we're not going to give it to him. We don't need stuff like that. It has to be regulations, and the regulations has to go for everybody. But we keep trying to figure out ways to keep these brothers out of the way of being um, not famous, but being, you know, the baddest ones, the pound for pound rankings, the champions, undisputed, things that matter in boxing. And that's what we can keep these brothers out with stuff like franchise or something, just any kind of stupid belt, and we won't let them have a chance to fight for it. That's what's really going on, and it's hard for them to explain it, but who cares? Keep asking the hard questions. And matter of fact, when somebody says something about franchise, you have to tune out immediately. You shouldn't even care about franchise because it's just bogus. It's messing up boxing worse than it's already messed up in the first place. So yeah, it was good to watch him do that. But I'll be honest with you, being a nice guy that I am, I cringed for the man. Damn, bro, that's a hard question. He can't really answer that. But actually, that's what he gets. Doma Sports Talk worldwide. I'm about it.